So, Blood Bowl, welcome. So, start off with nice and easy. What is Blood Bowl? It is just basically American football bloody.
It's a game of two halves.
It's a game of two halves, long halves. So, this is the 2-player box you get to start off with. Now, what's in that is you pretty much get everything you need to start the game. You'll end up getting 2 teams. You'll end up getting dice to use. You'll get templates to use with throwing. You'll get a template which will help with the random direction in which the ball will bounce. You also have a template for when the ball comes to throwing in from the pitch. Along with that, you'll get some cards, which very few people use when they play. And the rules. You also get a quick reference sheet as well. So, I won't open the box and show you because we don't actually have a copy with everything in it per se, because we use it quite a lot, so it's all empty. So, that's the box out of the way. So, as we're saying, Blood Bowl. Game with two halves. It's like American football. It's a lot more bloodied. So you end up with a team of 11 players on each side of the pitch. But that's not the limit of players you can have. You can have up to 16. It just means you can field 11 at a time. The rest will be in your reserves. And then if a player gets injured or knocked out, you can bring in extra players to fill in that gap. Now, although some of good question, if you bear with me 2 seconds. The 2-player box set is £70 at retail. We do a 20% discount on Games Workshop, which would mean you are looking at a £14 discount, which takes it to £56, which is pretty good for a 2-player game.
Flames of War I've got. Could go for the box set.
So, that being said, we've got that is the rule book. That's your getting it.
I've got no idea what to suggest.
And in this rulebook, you get the human team and the orc team. And with it, it'll give you a little stat sheet or team roster on how to actually manage your team, what skills they've got, everything to do there. Now, with your team, you'll get positionals. What that means, 56, that's so cheap, it'll make you want to slap your mama. Yes. So, like saying, with this, with the players, you'll get different positions. You get linemen, which are your basic guys that come right up the front lines and general all-rounders. You get blitzers, that they're used for doing quite a few tackles and helping for reinforcements. You'll get catchers and throwers. That's pretty much basic. One's used for catching, one's used for throwing. Although when it comes to the way some of them are statted up, it doesn't work out that way at times. But catchers and throwers. Blitzers, linemen, catchers, throwers. Yep. And on top of that, you can also get big guys. And they are generally your big slow players. Hit hard but a bit dumb. So quite a few of those are represented by ogres. You also have big Skaven. Sean. Rat ogres, don't worry, I've answered my own question. Rat ogres as well, as opposed to normal ogres. Otherwise there are other different big creatures as well. On top of that, yep, you get lots of different factions for this. So it's kind of a bit more based in the Age of Sigmar fantasy realm rather than the 40,000 realm. So with that being said, most of the armies you can get in Warhammer Age of Sigmar, you can get an actual Blood Bowl team for them. I think there's a total of about 20 odd teams you can get. Games Workshop at the moment supply about half the teams. But they are planning on releasing future teams to cover the rest of the board before it wouldn't get.
I think this is one that somebody's had
Now,
on side.
with that goes on to your basic teams there. I'm doing this off the top of my head, so I do apologise if I do pause for a moment. I need to think about what I'm going to say. So, going through the book then, basics. You covered your players. This is character alignment. Templates. Well, so the pitch and all that lot, which comes lovely folded like so, nice and small. The great thing about this is it may be nice and small, but watch this. There you go. There you go. That is the entire length of the board. So that's pretty good. It gets folded up into thirds. Now not only that, but what they've done as well is turn around that way. They've actually been good and made it double-sided. That's because where you get an orc team and a human team in this side is for the orcs, if you want to play in the orc pitch, and the other side is for the human pitch. It's lovely jubbly. Now, along with this board as well, you've got the two end zones. Yep, you've got the blue end zone that end, you've got the red end zone this end. That is where you got to get to. So obviously, if you set up this side, you've got to get down that end, and vice versa. You've got the halfway line, which is where you set up. And generally for this, you need at least 3 models on your startup line. Then you need a maximum of 2 on your sides. That way, that's how you set up. Although I say you need a maximum of 2 on your sides, you don't have to have those on the side. You could just have literally everything in the middle when it comes to setting up your team. The one thing they do say you must do on all setups is have 3 on the start line. So, with that, we then get these little boards, dugouts. So, where do I put the little remote? Wow, I've really been messy today, haven't I?
Although, if I get the
Sorry.
Tempestus Scions,
There.
you can use them in kill team, can't you?
Yes.
That shows you the board. Now, so with this, you've got, actually it's that side, isn't it? That is for your touchdowns. So whenever you score a touchdown, you get a counter, you move it along. That is where your reserves go. So like we're saying, if you have 16 players, you can only field 11. The other 5 are going there. The middle one there, that's for any players that get knocked out. Then over this side is for any players that get injured. Yeah. As I was saying, this game is going 2 halves. So that is represent the turn on the first half. That's to represent the turn in the second half. And each time you take a turn, you move the counter to 1. So each half has 8 turns. And down the bottom, these are for your re-rolls. Now, yes we are, I've got a remote for the camera. See, I've had this for ages. We've just not had the laptop computer to actually run this. This is the kind of thing we've wanted for ages. So, zoom back out. How about that, eh? The good thing as well, this actually saves me keep getting up, going round to the back of the camera, adjusting the angle, coming back, sitting down. It's good, isn't it? So, re-rolls. You can use one per turn, and obviously they allow you to re-roll. The thing is, although it does go up to 8 on here for re-rolls, it's very rare you'll get 8 re-rolls, because with making your Blood Bowl teams, they get a point cost. And how that works out is each player is worth a certain amount. Generally, your linemen are your cheapest. Oh my, okay, Mace, who do I remind? This is Mace just saying I remind him of someone. Garth from Wayne's World. Hasn't he got longer hair though? But party on, Wayne! Even though it's a bit high pitched for Garth, but. So, how on earth do I remind you of Garth? I would like to know this. Thank you, Blinky, for laughing at that one. Much appreciated. Right. So, I was saying, teams and points. So, each player costs a certain amount. Generally, your linemen are your cheapest. On top of your team VAT, getting your 11 players in, which is the minimum you need to get, quite a few times that will come to under the points that you're playing up to, because I'll slap Mace for you. Thank you, Blinky. So, generally, games are played are up to 1,000,000 points. Well, when I say 1,000,000 points, there's actually, it's a currency. So think like £1,000,000. Each team member will cost about 60k, 70k, that kind of premise. So, although 1,000,000 points does seem like a lot, it's not really. When you get a player for half 100,000, 50,000, it adds up pretty quickly when you get 11 of them. Now, so most of the time when you make your team players up to 11 players, it will come under the mark of what you need. Now, for the rest of it, you can actually get, is it inducements? It is team goods, they called it. What that allows is, means you can buy re-rolls to help you out in the game, because at the end of the day, what you use is D6s. You also use a block dice as well. So with that, there are negatives on the block dice, there are negatives on the six-sided dice, because where this works on skill levels, it goes on a dice roll like you need a 4 or above to get over. If you get under, that's where your reroll comes in. With blocking, there's negatives there, where the block could be a fail, would be the person you try to punch to get the ball off, for example. They punch you back instead and not knock you out. Not good, so you get a reroll for it. On top of that, you can buy cheerleaders, yay! And you can get assistant coaches, you can get bribes, because that's one thing about this game as well. You're allowed to cheat, but you get caught out for it. So if they say you cheat, you've got to cheat good. So it kind of encourages it. For example, a while back, me and Matt were playing a game. I managed to field 12 players, which is above the 11 maximum cap. Matt didn't realise, therefore I managed to play with 12 players for the first half of the game. Second half, I realised Matt didn't, so I told him about it, he couldn't do anything about it. But, if you get caught out for cheating there and then, nothing really happens. You just go, no, you've done that, you've been called out, you can't do what you're going to do if it's cheating. Now, bribes, what bribes do is, if you end up doing a foul on a player, and that player gets sent off, one,
It doesn't always work.
you find out you've been doing a foul, and the ref goes, "Oi, you're fouling." Off you get. The bribe allows you to pay him off, have a chance at re-rolling that result, see if your own player doesn't get sent off for cheating. Cheerleaders, they help you with the kick-off table, and so do the assistant coaches. Now, kick-off table. This is the next part. Well, it's coming up in the next part. That covers your team, roughly, and how to build up. You choose your players, it comes to a cost. Then you choose your... I've forgotten what I call it. Team goods. That will give you total pointage, and then you can use that to play the game. You can also get apothecaries. Apothecaries, what they do is they can bring your guys back from the dead, which is quite handy because if one of your star players, like if you get a player that's got lots of skills to him and he dies, you go, "Oh, I really don't want him to die." You can use your apothecary, he can help you with him not dying and bring him back from the dead. So, after that, playing the game, starting the game. Once you have made your list, or your team, each player as well gets skills to help them do extra things. Some will help them to do tackles against other players, some will help them to catch the ball easier or throw the ball easier, some will be to help them to run around the field, get out of people's ways. So there are skills to help in these aspects.
It's just confused life,
Yeah. Starting the game. Now, with this, one thing I always forget, because there's a certain order to do these, because with the game, because what I've done is we've ended up downloading an app for our phone, and what it's called is BB Ref, which is quite easy, and it saves going through it all, but it's got nice, easy explained here. It shows you the pre-match sequence. So you both got your teams. You double check that everything adds up right. You're not cheating. You're not over your limit. And then you put your players on the field. In a league game, because it's football, you're going to have leagues. If you do a pass, if you get a touchdown, if you cause a casualty, your players can level up and get extra skills. What this does as well, as they get extra skills, it makes that player more valuable and he gets paid more. That will increase your team value. So like I said, you're making up a team up to 1 million points. After that first match, your team will go above that 1 million mark if they've managed to level up their skills quite nicely by doing, like I said, passing, touchdowns and casualties. So, pre-match sequence then is, once you've got your teams, one's got higher point value than the other, that difference you can use for inducements. And it's a way of compensating. It's like a handicap. If you've got a Premier League team going up against your local football club, there's a huge difference in quality of players there. So what this does is the inducements allows you to get extra players, extra star players, which is better skilled up than what you've got. So it'd be like your local football club has just got a star Premier League player from another club. There's also, you can get extra re-rolls. You can get cakes or drink, which allows you to bring your players back onto the pitch on an easier dice roll. So there are ways of even up the odds if someone's got a higher value team than you have. So with that going, Pre-match then. So once you figure out the difference, you've paid for inducements to bring it back up to the level marks. You're both playing at the same value. You'll end up rolling for the weather to see what the weather's like whilst you're playing the game. With that, we've got the quick reference, and that has given you a weather table. You're using 2d6 for this, and example what it does. If you get 2, it's called sweltering heat, which means you roll a d6 for each player on the pitch at the end of the drive. A drive is after someone's got a touchdown, not after they're just taken around the field a couple times in the car. After the end of that drive, once you roll the d6, on a 1, the player collapses and they get taken off the pitch and put into reserves, and they can't be used for the next kick-off, the next turn. If it's a 3, it's very sunny, which means you get a -1 on all passing rolls. Pretty much means glaring sun, it blinds you a little bit, it puts off your aim. Now, after that you've got nice, which is perfect Blood Bowl weather. That means you can quite happily play a game and there's no problems with weather. It's not going to hinder your game. After that, you've got pouring rain. That is on a 11, and that means it's going to make it gives you a -1 to your catch, so it makes it harder to catch. It makes it harder to intercept a ball. For instance, whenever you throw a ball, if an opposing player is in the way of where that ball is going, they can intercept it and catch it on a 6. So they'll get a minus to that, and also if it's pouring rain, you get a minus to your pickup. So it makes it harder to pick up the ball because the ball's all wet, muddy ground, lots of fun. Other than that, you've got a 12. And what is a 12, you ask? It's a blizzard. You can have a blizzard in the game. Now, with that, it says here, any player attempting to move an extra square, this is on top of their maximum movement distance, they'll, if they slip, they'll get knocked down on a roll of 1 to 2. And as it's a blizzard, only a quick pass and a short pass can be made, so you can't throw the ball too far, basically. No? What? Itch. Oh, you're just about ready, are you?
Yeah. Mopsky.
I'll catch you later.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the game. I'll input all the stuff onto Matt's spreadsheet.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Hopefully we've got some more players as well.
Well, hopefully, yeah. Just wait and see.
Try and get my son to play.
What? That's it, yeah. You need to...
Cameron, whatever
Cameron, you need to start playing.
I'm watching you.
Technically that's the other way around, but you can't see, you can hear you though.
Can't see me.
No.
Like scalp.
John Cena.
Scalp pimping on me.
Alright, well, catch those safe
See you
journeys.
later. Enjoy.
So, whereas that covers the weather. Once you have rolled for weather and sorted that out, you'll end up rolling for your fan factor. What it is obviously you're in a stadium, you've got your crowd around you. This works out on how many teams is on your side of the pitch cheering for you. With that, you roll 2d6. Now the reason why you do this is because once you have rolled for this fan factor, it helps on the kickoff table to your benefit. It ends up as a modifier to your rolls. So you roll for that, the highest gets the fan factor. After that, you toss a coin or a dice, highest gets to decide whether to kick the ball or to receive the ball. With that, if you decide you want to kick the ball, you have to set up your team first. If you decide you want to receive the ball, you get to set up your team last. So once you decide that, it goes, that person will set up their entire team, then the opposing team will set up theirs. Oh, excuse me. Now, once that's done, the team that is kicking the ball gets to kick the ball. And that, they just put it in the opponent's half of the board, and then they use a D6 and a D8 to find out where the ball lands. Now, with this, I was saying earlier on, there's a template. And what it is an 8-sided template. You can see that. This is where we use the zoom function again. Da, 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 da. So, nice little D8 template. And what that does is you put it on the table. So with your D8, whatever you roll, you move the ball in that direction. Now, as this board is in squares, this doesn't really bend too well. There we go. As it's in squares, you can see there's little crosses on here. Now, with square, you go in the middle, there are 9 squares around it. So that means, no, it's not 9 squares, there's 8 squares around it. There's 8 directions for it to roll, that's why we've got an 8-sided pointer and a D8. So with that then, your D8 determines the direction the ball will go in, and your D6 determines how many squares that ball will go. So once it has then landed in that designated square after the dice roll, you then roll on the kick-off table. And this is size what actually happens with the kick. Now, this is where your cheering fans, your fan factor and your assistant coaches come into play. Now, this is with 2 D6s you're using for your kick-off table. Each one of these has a different effect. So, for example, a 2 is get the ref, which means you'll get an extra bribe during the game. You can get a riot, which means it puts back or puts forward the turn marker. This could be very handy towards the end of a half because it means you get an extra turn. It gives you an extra chance to get an extra touchdown and more chance of winning the game. You can get a perfect defense, which allows you, once you've set up your team on the board, you can then rearrange them into a better position. This is very handy if you are the kicking team, because you would set up first as the kicking team. The receiving team would then set up to match your defence. And you think, well, hang on, the receiving team is going to go first. They'll be able to do a lot more damage to me before I get to do anything to them. But then repositioning your defence means you can change it around and put it to your advantage. After that, we've got a high kick. That allows you to move players underneath the ball. So think of it as just someone just pretty much just threw the ball straight up in the air. You've got a longer chance to actually get underneath it. That's what a high kick is. So after high kick, see that already we've done 4 things. And there's still a lot more for the kick-off table. We've got cheering fans. See, this is where the fan factor comes in. So you've rolled for your dice to see who comes in the gate, see how many fans you get. The winner gets fame. Now, with this cheering fans, that fame adds to the dice roll. Now, later on as well, fame gets more important as well, because if you win a game, you also get fame. Because you win in games, you get more famous. It's going to happen. So not only would you have a fame for winning the gates, but you'd also have fame for winning previous games. So if you've won quite a few games, you're going to pretty much easily get cheering fans. Now, after that, you've got a 7, which is changing weather, so the weather can change that quickly. And if it does, it means the ball will scatter again. Because no, it's not a D6, D8, it means a D8 after the kickoff, then another D8. So I'll go through this as well, don't worry. Once you've got changing weather, it's brilliant coaching. So that one is involving the feint as well. And what that does is it gives you an extra reroll, which you get to use throughout that half, and then you get to use it through that first half. So you got a quick snap. That is, the receiving team is allowed to move 1 square. So it gives them that extra movement and makes it a bit quicker for the offensive. You've got a blitz. That means the kicking team receives a free turn before anything happens. So that can be quite handy for, excuse me, dry mouth. That can be handy for getting in that quick extra turn and getting around people's defences and getting touchdowns. So it can be quite handy. Other than that, you've got throw a rock. That's quite fun. I've had that before. It's pretty much a member of the crowd lobs in a rock and takes out one of you guys. And that works in your fame as well. Then you got pitch invasion, which works on your fame as well. And that means the pitch invasion. All the crowd comes in onto the pitch. You end up rolling a dice for each member of your team, and on a 6 or a 5, if you manage to get fame, they end up being knocked out. That is that for that one. Jim Fast and Chemistry. Yeah, high kick, both defense, riot. Yes, brilliant coaching. Right, so you've done your kick-off table, your team's set up. Once your kick-off table's done, then you roll another D8 for a ball bounce. So, for example, you roll D6 and D8. We'll say that the ball, which so, I have a little ball there. So, D6, D8, we'll have the 1, 10, 8 there. Example, it's gone 1 on the D8, so 1 is that direction, and it's got 2 there, so it's moving 2. 1, 2. Then you would do the kick-off table. 2d6, which is a 5 and a 2, which is 7, and that would be the changing weather. So, if the result is nice, the ball scatters 1 random square before landing. So, roll for weather, I've got to follow this process, is an 8. That is nice weather. So, as a result, it's nice weather. From there, it scatters once, which is to the 1, which is that way. Then it scatters again, which is another 1. So it bounced twice over to there. That's where the ball's ended up. That's where you have to try and pick it up from. So that explains how you go about with the ball. Now, when it comes to blocking, this is where you get your other dice for this. So we've got D6s, and then we have block dice. Now, when it comes to blocking, you can only block models in the adjacent square to where you are. Alright, we'll have a little zoom in. Right. We'll move the camera down a little bit as well. So we'll put a couple of models onto the board and show you exactly what's going off. So, zoom in. So that can show you all the squares there. So it'll be quite nice. Now, we'll quickly get a couple of models. So 3 there, and now, these are the nearest models I had to grab, although no. So, blocking. Now you have your model there, and it goes in square there. Now, I've chosen this one for a purpose, because he's called Todger, bless him. Now, so you can only block a model that's in the adjacent square. So, with that one, it'll have to be there, adjacent squares around the model. So any of those ones, he'll be able to do a block on him. And that works out as tackle zones. Tackle zones are the squares adjacent to the model. Now, with your models, they have a stats for them. They have a couple of stats. They have the movement, which is how many squares they can move. They have their strength. That is to do with how hard they punch, how hard they tackle. They've got their agility, which is their skill at dodging, picking up the ball, throwing the ball. And they've also got their armour value. Armour value is how well they can take a hit, how tough they are. So, blocking. First you work out your strength and the model strength you're going to block. So, for example, he would have a strength of 3, and so this guy. If they've both got the same strength, you're using 1 dice. If they have, if the attacking model has a higher strength than the defending model, you then get 2 dice. But if this model has less strength than this guy, so if he's on 2 and he's on 3, you would get 2 dice. But the opponent would choose the result. Whereas if it's higher, you get 2 dice and you choose that result. So, results on the dice. I keep putting that down and keep forgetting it. That's the problem with the remote. Now, we have got. I lost the remote. That's really clever. What have I done with that then? Sean, I lost my remote. Oh, there it is. Right. So, dice. We have a skull. If you roll this, that means the attacker down. It's pretty much a case of you've gone to do a tackle on someone, that guy's gone nah and just elbowed you straight in the face. That's the equivalent of that. Your attack fails. We have, the next one is both down. That means you both bumped heads. The guy you're attacking is as hard as you are. You've literally knocked each other out. Now we've got next, which is a push, which is you're not been able to knock them down to the floor, but you managed to push them away. Apart from that is a push and down. So that means not only have you managed to push them away from the square they were in, but you managed to knock them down. Now, with this result, there's skills that can help with these dice rolls. If you were to get a dodge, what that allows you to do is you can dodge out of tackle zones, which require a dice roll, and it would turn this result into just a push. So it means you wouldn't go down on the ground. It means you're light on your feet, and you're light enough to still have this attack made to you, but just not get knocked down on your feet. And the last result is a kapow. That one, there is no way getting around. That is a success, regardless. And that still works as you've been pushed down and you've gone down. Now, so 2 dice, you get to choose your result. So we'll do a quick one here then. So he's on strength 3, he's on strength 3. So it'll be 1 dice and that'll be a result. He's on strength 4. This little guy's on strength 3. As I've got more strength, I get 2 dice. And I get to choose the result. So which is quite handy, because if there was to be a skull, which is the attacker down, and the kapow, it means you can actually choose which one you want. To which ideally you want the kapow, you don't want your own guy to go down. Now, here comes the tricky fun part. You can get assists in here, which will affect your dice rolls as well. Now, if these guys both on the same strength, both on 3, I could move this guy into an adjacent square of this guy. Now, as he's next to the model I'm going to be blocking, throwing that punch at, he works as an assist and gives me an extra strength. 1 extra strength to my attack. So if he was on 3, he's now on 4 because of the assist. But what if we do something different? Is that guy got his Todger? Yes, he has. That's why he's called Todger. How about that? See, comical value. So we'll swap around, make a bit more, make him a bit decent. So 2 guys, you got an assist there. He's blocking onto that one. You'll end up with 2 dice because he adds to the strength of the attacking model, and it's 1 more than that one. But if you had another model here, it's looking a bit crowded. That model is in that one's tackle zone. So he cannot assist on that block because he's there to stop him. So with tackle zones, it can be a bit tricky working out exactly what dice you're using. So that's quite easy for blocking. Well, I say easy, you end up picking this up along the way. Like most games, you find a tricky part, it takes a while to get used to, but then you work out afterwards. Other than that, whilst we are here on the short screen, Blinky, you can't tell Matt and me that I'm used Todger. He's going to find out anyway. But yeah, dodging away. Now, if I wanted to move this guy out of the tackle zone of this guy, I'd have to do something called a dodge. That's because I'm in his tackle zone. I'm adjacent to an enemy model, and that would just be you move the model, then you roll a dice based on the model's agility, and then if you succeed, he does the dodge. If he fails, he'll end up falling over, and then you have to roll on his armour, which is what we're going to get to. And the way the failed dodge works is the guys just trip as you try to get away. So, put it back. Once you have done a successful block, that model will then get knocked over. Now, when he gets knocked over, if it is a kapow or a back and down, the model would move a square away from the attacking model, then be put down. Then after that, your attacking model has a chance of moving a square forward to follow up on that attack, which is a free movement. 9 times out of 10 you'll do it, unless he's got a load of extra guys around here. Then you think, no, because that means he can gang up on me and get an easy attack on. So once he's down, this is where the armour comes in. You need to roll 2d6, and you need to get higher than that model's armour value. Once you've got higher than model's armour value, I've just got a Blood Bowl team. What's going off there? It looks like Mark that was in earlier has left these models here. So we'll make sure we put it to one side for him. Now, as we've got to, once you have broken that armour, you then get to roll on the injury table. This will decide whether the model stays on the pitch, whether he gets knocked out, or whether he gets injured and taken off in a stretcher. The way that works is, on the actual dugout, we have got reserves, we've got not knocked out, and if you notice there's an 8 and 9 there. That means if you roll an 8 or 9 after successfully breaking the armour, he'll get knocked out and put in there. But if he gets between a 10 and a 12, he's injured and he gets completely off the pitch. With knocked out, once they go in there, at the end of that drive, once they got a touchdown, on the next setup you've got a chance of rolling a dice to see if he comes back on, and generally that's on a 4. So with the injury table, how that will work out is, once you've rolled to see if he gets into that injury box, you end up rolling a d6 and a d8, and with that result can represent anything between just being badly hurt to missing next game, and then getting various broken bones and sprained ankles, and even a dead result from playing the game. Now, so it can get quite deadly in this, which is what we expect. So, zoom back out, because I need to readjust the angles also. I have to move back for this one. Bump. Now, so that covers how to start the game, how to go about blocking, how to go about dodging. Because, like I was saying with dodging, all your moving away is away from the attacker. So that's a role in your agility. Now, with your basic agility rolls as well, and any rolls you do get, we have got the reference sheet that has a nice bit on how to do things. And with the rolls, it's a bit backwards. So if you've got a player's agility of 3, normally in games, that 3 would mean, oh, I just need a 3 or higher to do it. In this one, if you had a 3 for your agility, you would need to get a 4 or higher to actually do anything. If you had agility of 4, which is a higher number, then you're doing it. You need a 3 or lower, a 3 or higher. So it works up. The higher the agility, the lower number you need on a dice to succeed, and the lower the agility, the higher number on the dice you need for a successful successful action, for it to be successful. That was really tricky, that were. So that's your basics with the agilities and how they work. But with dodgies, picks up, passing and catchings, you get modifiers as well. If there are any opponent's models within your tackle zones, within those 8 squares around your model, you'll end up getting minuses to it. You also get pluses for doing things as well, for picking up the ball, for throwing a very quick pass, and things like that. Now, to show a quick pass, we have a template, a very long template. This represents the maximum distance you can actually throw the ball. The way it works is, middle of the model goes in that circle. That's going to do Nedon because I can't see myself. I can't see if I'm in view. So, try again. So you start off with that part over the top of the model. So, like so. Now, as you notice, there are some lovely little balls on here. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. If they are in this section, in the first section, so if they're in this bit, it means it is a quick pass and they actually get a plus modifier to actually making that pass. It's because it's that short, well, it's that close to them. There's no way that they can mess that up, surely. It's going to be very accurate. In the number 2, if they're anywhere in that bit, then it just counts as a normal pass. Or as they call in here, a short pass. And that's just straight up on your agility. You don't get no pluses and minuses to doing it, unless there's a tackle zone. Then we have got a long one, which will give you a minus, and we have a very long one that gives you 2 minuses to it. Then with catching as well, so you throw the ball, whoop, then you've got to try and catch it. With catching it, all you've got to do is roll on your agility and check if there's any minuses to it. With catching, you'll get a +1 if it's inaccurate, and then you get a minus if there's a tackle zone. Now, when I say inaccurate pass, which will click onto the actual pass, I believe inaccurate. What's an inaccurate actually? Because I think there's something to do with the dice rolls, so we go back to the rule book. You know, I've played about 2 seasons this, and I've just realised about the accurate and inaccurates. So, pass turnovers, pick up the ball, agility pick up, blocks, bits move, strength, agility, tackle zones, knockdowns, injury tables, stand-ups, throwing the ball. So, first of all, coach must measure the range, movement, look at agility fine, D6. Required move, so I think it's always accurate So I could be wrong on this. So as long as you throw the ball, it's always accurate. Otherwise, there will be some cases when it says it is an inaccurate ball, then you'll get a minus to it as well. So I've got a quick question. Red Scorch Lord, put my blood bottle into one side, please. I left him at the shop below the camera. Oh, that is Mark then. Yeah, I saw your message. I actually said it earlier on before you popped on. But yeah, make sure it's somewhere safe. It's actually on the painting table. But yeah, make sure it's put by the till so it doesn't get disturbed. So, with catch the ball, it's nice and easy. Now, as soon as you decide you are going to throw a ball, the opponent can intercept it. Now, this is the one thing we find a bit weird about this game. So, if you fail throwing the ball, it can fumble, which means you drop it, from the square you're in. So, before you even get to roll that dice, your opponent can intercept it. Which means if there's an opponent within this gap of the direction the ball is going, he can say, I'm going to catch it. On a 6, he'll catch that ball. But if you was to roll a 1, and it would fumble and land in square, where you are, and the guy's intercepting over here and caught it, how has he caught it if you just fumbled it from there? Doesn't make sense. As far as me and Matt are concerned, it should actually work a bit differently, where you throw the ball, you roll for that dice for throwing it, as long as it's not a 1 and it goes the distance, then you intercept. That's how I think it should work. Just because of when you roll a 1, you fumble. Because otherwise, fumble, oh, it's there, that's quite safe, it's still near me. Yeah, the guy's caught it over here and it's on the opponent's side. Now he's going to make it a lot easier to get a touchdown. Just for that little niggling aspect, it's annoying, but that's how it plays. So that is throwing and passing. You can as well, you can throw once per turn. But what you can do is if you've got a model next to another model, a friendly one, you can pass it off, as it doesn't actually count as a throwing pass. So he could pass to him, or hand off, then this model can move his movement up to the other model, then pass off again in that same turn. And you can keep going along that line if you've ended up staggering it that way. But throwing wise though, you can't go, he'll throw to him, then he'll throw to him. You can only do 1 throw per turn. Now, if you fail any of your actions, it counts as a turnover. So if I go to pick up the ball, I failed my roll, that's a turnover. If I go to block someone, to tackle them, and I failed that attack, it's a turnover, it goes to the opponent's side. Now, with this game, it does play a bit of lengthy time because it's a game of 2 halves and each half is 8 turns. Not only is it 8 turns, but that's your 8 turns, then your opponent's 8 turns. So each half consists of 16 turns. So it works as total, you're playing 32 turns. Now, when we play this, we can play a game in about 2 hours. Generally, down here it runs a bit longer, considering if me and Matt play, we've got customers to see to as well. have a nice grief, or we might need a toilet as well, because it's 2 hours. It's kind of like a film. You end up having to stop and go to the toilet at some point. So generally these games will last from 2 hours onwards. I have played a game that lasts 6 hours because we were just thinking that much about what to actually do, how to actually move these models. So this is why I've not actually set any models up and why we're not actually playing a game of this at the moment, because it would take a very long time to do. I will not argue that. But next week though, we will be playing a game of Blood Bowl, because it's easier to run through a game and tell you what we're doing step by step rather than teaching you than playing, because like I said, it'll take a bit of time, but we've got plenty of weeks of doing live streams. We'll squeeze them in. So with playing this, one of the reasons why we're doing this Blood Bowls World video is because Last Bastion is doing its own league, Bastion Bowl. Now, with leagues, actually, before I even start that, is that the gist of the game? Yeah, I'll leave the Bastion League for the moment. Yes, it's easy to understand when you're playing, and it's explained as you go along. Yes. Honestly, this game is a favourite in our house with the kids, but the rules go right over my head. It literally has to be dumbed down. I'm terrible. Yes, it does, because I will completely agree with that, Blinky. Some of these rules can be very difficult. I mean, as I said before, earlier, with the skills you get with your players, those skills can make blocks better for you. Because, example, your players can come with a skill called block. And what that means is when you get the both down result, you don't go down, just the opponent. So it means rather than having two results that work negative for you, the only negative result you have is an attacker down. On top of that, there's a skill you can get which is dodge, which I spoke about before. That allows you to dodge out the way of players, but it also helps against blocks, and that will turn a push and down into just a push. So it still keeps your player up and manoeuvrable. Once a player is down on the ground, they can't get up to the next turn. And once they get up, their movement is a lot slower because they're still staggering around. So with these rule books, you have the Blood Bowl rulebook, which I've obviously been going through. With the rules, it covers how to play most of the game, and whatever you need is in there. But, here's the but for it. It does not cover all of the skills you get in it. With all the books they've done for Blood Bowl, you get the official rules, you get a Death Zone, Seasons 1 and 2. Now, what these are, lovely pictures there. These are featuring all the existing official content and more. So it gives some new teams that you get access to, shows you some star players you can get, rules for leagues, it shows you skills, extra coaching staff you can get, and it's also got an exhibition play. So for that it says want to really let loose. Exhibition play lets you create experienced teams and pit them against one another. So think in a matched game of Age of Sigmar or Warhammer 40k, you've got a list, you make it, you give it these weapons, you give it these loadouts, then you play a game. So with Blood Bowl, it's a case of you get your team, you give it these skills, then you play with it. So you're not just playing a team with basic skills, you can actually make those players better than play without. So these will have lists of the skills for your players in them, along with, like I said before, new teams and their stats, and a load of other goodies. I say goodies. I like to use the goodies as an example. Now, in the back of these, we have this. We are, with this, I'll quickly do this bit then answer the questions on the stream feed. This gives you the setup and layout for how to input your roster, your inducements, and team goods. So it's a nice little layout for you. Now, questions is, are you going to stream game nights? Now, whoops, just hands. With game nights, Blinky, are you on about just the Bastion Bowl games, or you mean a general games night when we've got people down here playing for games? Because we've got Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday nights where we generally have people down. Zoomy. So I'll wait for you to get back to me on that one. If it is just on about the Bastion Bowl games, we will be streaming some of those. At the same time, so it all depends if the people we are playing against would like their games streamed. We have done it before. But, so, you get Death Signs 1 and 2. We'll have the skills in and what they do. Just really excited some games being played. In that case, yes. We will end up streaming random games. We have done before. It's just for the moment we've mainly been keeping to these Sunday night streams to quickly get an awareness of the games and little run-throughs. Once we've covered the run-throughs on the games, then the plan is to just go, here's a live game being streamed. Obviously it won't be just off the fly and short notice. We'll actually organise a game to be played and actually have that game played. As long as we've got a week's notice, we'll give you a week's notice as well. So we will be doing lots of games. Being able to actually go out and play them, it'd be nice to see some people have fun and ass licking. Ass licking. Well, isn't that an interesting game to be playing? So it should be ass kicking. Now, see, that's one of the reasons why we do these videos as well, and we will be doing game videos, because we know at times it's very difficult for people to get out of the house with family life, work life, and such. So this way, it's a nice way some just chill in the evening after a hard day work or hard day housework, dealing with the kids, whichever happens to stress you out. It's a nice way to relax. So we will be getting on to game streams and gaming nights. On top of these books, these 3 books, we also get the Spike Almanac. Now, each month, Games Workshop release a Spike magazine, and that works like your football magazines. This has quite a lot of backstory, backstory, I'll probably say. Little stories, I say little stories, won't it? Journals. So it tells you about teams, how they've actually progressed in their leagues, because each Blood Bowl team you can buy, they've actually got a team name to them. So in this book, it will give you history about that actual team and how they've progressed in the league, their star players, what they're called, information like that. So it's a nice little supplement to have. See here, this page here, it's actually got a little comic strip bit there for someone's actual gameplay bit. So one of the characters is one of the teams you can get. So it's quite a good read. I'll go to the contents and give you a little glimpse as to what actually gets in there. So, we have got Chosen of the Gods, which is... It's a Nightmare, Green Sport Plans, Cubby Mouth, Nurgle, Superstar Fadings, Plug Placement. So yeah, it is all about other teams and little stories about them. For example, we've got here the Doom Lords, and it's got the year they've actually been, the years that they've been playing for, which is only a year apparently on that one. And then they've got career highlights as well for other people. So that's quite a good book to get. The other one, which is the one we haven't got, is the Almanac. That one has all of the current teams in that Games Workshop has released, their stats, inducements they can get, access to star players they can have. It also has everything you need to do a league, how to run it, how to do the end of a game, which we'll be covering in a second as well, and the skills, and what everything is. So that, at the end of a game, at the end of game, the way it works, you'll end up sorting out your winnings, because the winner and loser, this is mainly for leagues as well, the end game stats, is you work out your SPP, which is the points that your players rack up once they've completed a pass, got a touchdown, injured a player. Once they've hit a certain level mark in their SPP, star player points, they'll get access to a skill. You roll a dice, that tells you what type of skill you can get, and then that increases that player's value. So once they've leveled up, you do that at the end of the game. You can also get a most valuable player during that game, and that is, you choose 3 players that you think have performed quite well, or you think, actually, he's only got 1 more point before he can level up, I'll stick him on to get a cheeky point on. That MVP will give you 5 points when they've chosen. You choose 3 players, you roll a d6, so 1 to 2 will be 1 player, 3 to 4 will be a different one, 5 to 6 will be another one. That player will get MVP. Once that's done, you've sorted out your winnings. If you won, your fan factor goes up. Then if you lose, you roll to see if your fan factor stays the same or goes down. No. Your fame goes up if you win. Your fame goes up if you win. You roll your fan factor to see if it goes up or down. After that, you then input all these stats into a database. Now that way, it keeps track of your league progression and your team progression. Then for next game, you've got an update your team sheet. But generally, that's left down to the more experienced players, and they're the ones that generally organise these leagues. Now with leagues, we've got the Bashing Bowl, like I mentioned. That is one we're currently doing at the moment. We have people already in it and games already being played. We've had Matt play games. We've got Bruce, he's played games in it. We've got Mark and myself that both played games as well. Earlier on this evening, me and Mark actually played a game. It turned into a tie. So that's why Mark was here earlier on. Now, yes, we are playing this already, but the way most leagues work is everyone registers to play. Once that registration has been done, there's a deadline for it. Those that have registered get to play. They play a certain amount of games, then it goes into who's won. And there can be league finals as well. But what we're doing is we're running it over the course of a couple of months. And people can drop in when they want to, and they can register when they want to. We're going to be, I believe Matt is basing it on a win percentage rather than just I've won 5 games, you've all won 3, yay, I've won. So when I say win percentage, it's done by the amount of games you played against the amount of games you win. So as long as you're keeping a good win streak and you're playing lots of games and still winning, you've got a high chance of winning. It does mean you can only play a couple of games. There will be a minimum amount, don't get me wrong, because otherwise you could only play 1 game. You've got to win. Well, I've got to win. I've got a 100% streak at the moment, a win streak. So there you go. You can't get more than 100. I've won. No. We'll keep it to a minimum. I'm not sure what the minimum is yet, as it's down to Matt. But for example, minimum amount of games you have to play is 5. That's just the example, just pointing that out, putting that in concrete. So as long as you play 5 games, that percentage you get from there gives you a chance of winning. You could play 10 games if you want to, and as long as you're winning, you've still got a good chance of winning it. But if you lose, that will lower your win percentage and make it harder for you to win. So with all that being said, what that means, all in all, is you can play as many games as you want, play as few games as you want. It's easy and relaxed. You're not under any obligation apart from play the minimum amount. That's it. The reason why we've done this is because quite a few leagues, they've got it, so you need to play everyone in the league. If you've got 8 different players, that means you need to play 7 games. Sometimes they do it over a short period of time. Bless you. And that can be quite pressurising on some people to commit to that, especially with work life and home life and family life. So, Bash and Bowl is up and running at the moment. Games are being played. You can join in when you want to. Saying that, don't leave it till the last minute to join, because then you won't get all the games in that you need to. So if you are going to join, don't take too long. So even though we have started, don't let that put you off playing. By all means, don't let it put you off. Oh, excuse me. Now, have I covered everything? Well, I haven't covered the gist of it, to be honest with you. Almanac, can't really cover, so we've not really got it here. That, I think, is everything I can think of at the moment. Have you been listening to what I've been saying, Sean?
Not really, no.
Okay, that doesn't really help then, does it? Just trying to just quickly go over if I've covered the basics, really.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, that was just kind of a rhetorical question. Sorry, I just said that loudly, didn't I? But yeah, one thing we didn't actually cover is, obviously, we've gone through the templates. There's one template we didn't actually cover, which is this little doodad. This one, of the new zone function, that is for when the ball goes off the pitch. It counts as a throw-in. So where the ball goes off the pitch, you have this up against it like so, or like so. Then you roll in a dice to see which direction it comes in, and then roll in 2 dice to see how far into the pitch it goes. So nice to quickly explain that one. So, thank you, Blinky. I was just about to ask if anyone's got any questions and if I've covered everything. Blinky, thank you. I think I've pretty much covered it. And you're going to get Mace to sign up for Bastion Bowl. Ooh. So, yeah. Games are done, pitches are done. I think that will probably be it for the moment. I can't think of anything else. I'll put a look in here. Basic skills, throwing the ball, movement, win the match. Yeah. So considering the time is just come up to 22:11. Normally that's a good indication whether we have covered everything, because it normally takes about an hour or so anyway. So I'm happy there. Yeah. I think that's about it, really. So this is one thing about not having Matt here. Normally two heads are better than one, and we can bounce off each other. Which is that's probably why these videos last so long normally, because we've got him here as well, and there's quite a lot of banter. This one is not so much banter. I've gone through things quickly, I think. So, yeah, that's Blood Bowl for you. It can be tricky to play, like Blinky has said on the chat. The main thing that makes this tricky to play is figuring out how many dice you're going to use for your blocks, and that's to do with tackle zones and people around it. Then it's remembering the skills your players have. Now, when it comes to playing games, what people tend to do is they print out a team sheet that's got both teams written down on this piece of paper. Then they do 2 copies. That way, if you've got a copy in front of yourself, you know what your guys have got, and you know what the opponent guys have got, and vice versa then. So then you keep track of who you need to take out that you know are going to cause you problems, who to avoid, and how to go about playing your game. But with this as well, with quite a few of the teams they have been releasing with Blood Bowl, Games Workshop have done pitches to match them as well. With these pitches, where I've read off the kickoff table and the weather chart, so these have different pluses and minuses to your game, each of the different pitches have a different effect for them as well. So you don't have to use those extra quirks, extra abilities, but if you do want a nice, more fun, interesting game, you can play different pitches with different abilities. There's the Goblin one. They've got a pitch which is just mud and water, which makes it more slippery and slidey and tricky to pick up the ball. You've got a Dark Elf? Night Elf? Is it Dark Elf or Night Elf for Age of Sigmar? Naggaroth Knights. Are they Dark Elf?
The Dark Elf.
Yeah, Dark Elves. Yeah. There's a Dark Elf pitch which is actually based on a ship. So they've just got this really huge boat and just chucked a Blood Bowl pitch on there. And that one, halfway through your game, if you're on a certain result, the board flips over and half the board is actually submerged, and there's this big tentacle squid thing with squid tentacles on the board, which makes it different as well. There is even a dwarf one as well, where parts of the floor can actually, dwarfs underground, they can actually have collapses on the pitch, or lava explode from the middle of the ground as well. Oh dear, bless you, Blinky. You are not seeing a shiny head. Yeah. Yes, it's nice not having the reflection in the camera screen, as Matt said. Well, I was saying I've got quite a big forehead at the moment, so hopefully that's not causing any glare. But yeah, Blood Bowl. There's a lot of fun aspects to it. You've got teams that are built around strength, harder, slow moving, better for tackling people. You've got teams that are built around agility, running around the players and just getting those touchdowns quicker. You've got teams built around being a bit snidey and sneaky and backstabbing people. You've got teams where they literally just throw their own players. You've got all sorts. So it can be quite a fun game to play. I highly recommend it. I mean, first of all, I wasn't interested in this at all to start off with until there was a league got done in the shop, a Rotherham Blood Bowl League, the RBBL, and that got started, and quite a few of the games got played in the shop. I got asked to join. I said, yes, all right then, as it's getting done in the shop. I work here. I might as well. It gives me something to do and looks fun. I said fun after I've seen people play it. And I've played 2 seasons. And I've started enjoying this now, yeah. I call it battle chess, because that's pretty much my example of how it plays. You got the pieces, they all do something to their own, and it's planning your movement, then trying to figure out what they do next as well. So that's why I call it battle chess. But good game. Highly recommend it, like I say. That's about it for the moment. It's not my choice of game, but once you go through it, it can be fun. Yes. And so I do agree with you completely there, Blinky. There are games I'd rather play. I won't lie about that. But I do still thoroughly enjoy playing this, which is why I've actually got a team for this. And the team I actually got, I showed you some of the models earlier on whilst in the video, just in case you can't see. I actually got a little polar bear. Well, not a polar bear, I painted up a brown bear. But this is actually one of the models I actually got for a team. So it's a team of all bears. Now, this isn't an official Games Workshop team. This is from a third party. But that's because I do have a Games Workshop team. I just wanted something different. Saw these and they look cute and amazing as anything. So I thought, oh, I've got to get them. They're just cute, cuddly bears. And yeah, I brought them. Spent too much on them, but I brought them. So that's it from me tonight, really. Nothing else really to say on the matter. It's Blood Bowl, it's good. Next week we shall run through a game. Further plans for streams, not too sure at the moment, but we are coming up to the point where we've covered quite a few of the game systems that get played here, which means you'll start seeing a lot more game nights where we are just playing games. Some of those will be ones with other people in the shop as well, so it will get quite noisy. Or there will be ones like on the Sunday nights as well, where it's literally just me and Matt playing a game, or a guest appearance from one of our customers wanting to play a game. So stay tuned as always. We shall catch you later. Quick. I don't know. Before I do go, didn't know you can use third party. Well, if you go down to a Games Workshop or Warhammer shop, or you go to Warhammer World. If you go to there, you've got to play with the official models because it's their shop. They'd like you to play with models that they supply. But there are quite a lot of people that do third-party miniatures for this. The reason being is because, like I was saying at the start of this, there are about 20 odd teams for this. As a result, like I said as well, Games Workshop have only released half the teams. And as a result, other people have filled in the gaps for making models for the rest. Just because sometimes with Games Workshop releasing models, they can be a bit slow with the releases. So other people go, oh, I can't wait this long, I'm going to make a model for it. So there are websites you can go to and just see hundreds of different style models for the same team. And that's why I end up getting these. Because this Blood Bowl game as well, if you cannot get down to actually buy the actual game, you've got a computerised version as well, Blood Bowl 2. I believe that's on the PS4 and Xbox One. So if you've not got around to actually buying the models, you can actually just pop onto your console, download the game, and it will play exactly like this. Dice mechanics are slightly not in your favour. It's supposed to be random, but it completely is, but it just does you over so much. But yeah, so you get teams in there as well, and you can play the game. So it's one of those, if you want a virtual copy, go down that route until you can afford this copy as well. So, on that note, thanks for tuning in. We shall call it that, and we shall catch you next week, which will be a game of Blood Bowl. It should be quite nice. It will quite possibly be me against Matt, to which hopefully all the bears should be painted up. It shouldn't take too long. But we'll look forward to seeing you guys then. So, from me, and just me, because Matt isn't here, just alone. We'll